Rhodes.
Here.
Galindo.
Here.
Can I have a motion for a quorum?
I make a motion for a quorum.
Second.
Vote Rhodes.
Yes.
Galindo.
Yes.
Quorum has been stated. We do not have any unscheduled guests that I can see. So number 4. Did all members have a chance to read and review the past meeting minutes from August 14th?
Yes.
Yes.
Any comments, concerns, or questions?
I just had a question on the lease for the hay.
Yes.
It was noted to them that they are not allowed to store bale hay, equipment, anything.
No, I don't know that he did last year.
There was hay bales there for a while, so.
We can make sure that
Yeah,
it stays on
that
top of
being
that.
parking lot for the airport, their runway, nothing needs to be on there, so.
Yeah, I'll make sure he knows that.
Other than that, that was it.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
A second.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Galindo.
Yes.
Motion carries. Number 5. Discussion on purchase orders for the general fire and ambulance funds. Any questions? Did you guys get those today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meant to send them yesterday and I got home and went, where are they at?
I had any questions, but I had trouble getting them to open up for some reason.
Sometimes that happens to me too.
I'll make sure I'm looking at the right ones because there's.
My mower broke down.
Is that on this one or the other one?
That was the one with the fuel issue. That's paying for the repair for the fuel issue that they had, that we discussed last meeting. Our mower doesn't take, was it E10 or something, like, it needs 100%
Pure
fuel.
grass, no.
Right, and it wasn't getting that.
Okay.
But we have rectified that
And,
situation, yes.
probably, yeah. Okay.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Galindo.
Yes.
6 was discussion and presentation on new sidewalks along Highway 50. The postmaster from Moreland, which is for here as well, wasn't able to be here, nor the DOT person on short notice. So we'll work at getting them together to verify, just kind of making sure that the the boxes along the highway clusters are done right. That
So
we
I
notify
did
the
get-
customers.
I did get a chance to talk to DOT, and we discussed, and I need to send them an email. They wanted me to visit with the board, talk about the next steps, whether we got approval or not from the postmaster to potentially move the mailboxes. So I did that, but I didn't want to email them back till after we had the meeting today. So the next step is it goes to design. Their engineer will look at it, design it, and then that's when they'll get us involved a little bit more so they'll understand what we can, where we're going to put the mailboxes so that they do it the right way. They will be involved in that phase of it. So they still want to get it done, but it's going to be later in the fiscal year that they'd like to do it. So And I think that's okay. So as we get, I'll send him the email. Once the design starts and we get involved in that, we'll have more information for
The postmaster.
the postmaster
Okay.
and the public.
Right.
So we'll know and educate. So
Yeah.
You don't need to do nothing with that one, right?
No, it was just a discussion. So later in like 2019 year, like this physical year, or like the physical year later in 2020?
And yeah, 20, that's when they,
Okay,
that's whenever their plan is for 20.
20, okay. Their physical year and ours are similar, it's like July to June, so.
Yeah.
I always have to make sure I clarify
Yeah.
calendar year to fiscal year.
I
So,
believe, yeah, one of them. We'll find out more once we get to
that,
being a
after
little
that
bit
design
more
stage.
involved in the design phase of that.
Okay. Number 7 was discussion on animal ordinances. Right now, our ordinance is in the code book, chapter 3, section 3. Basically, it's like if we capture your dog, there's a first offense, second offense, and third offense, and there's fines that go along with them if we know who the dog is, if there's a collar, or we, like saying, we know the dog, the owner, or whatever. If we don't, right now they're taken to Woodward to the pound over there for possible adoption or other means or whatever. Chad had me check with the city of Alva to see if they, in the past, back in 1992, we did have an agreement with the city of Alva for them to come over a certain amount of time and days to do dog catching duties. And I have spoken with Angelica Brady, who will be speaking with Joe Don over there to see if that's a possibility again for us in current pricing and situations like that. Another thing was like I did some research of other towns' ordinances on dogs or animals in general, and a lot of them limit the amount of animals you can have. A lot of them it's 3 or 4 dogs is it, but it's up to like the dog catcher or the city maintenance or someone to go and
Check it.
check it all the time on top of that. So that's just another thing to kind of think about is like we could put a limit on it or not, but like I said, if you put a limit on it, someone's going to have to check it type of.
So do we know of any issues with somebody having way too many dogs in town? I don't know of any.
Not in town. There's an issue in my neighborhood, but the person who has the dogs lives on the other side of the street, which is considered out of city limits.
Right on the edge.
Right on the edge, yeah. So, and those dogs roam, I mean, they go all the way down the hill, down Rattlesnake Ridge, down and run around, so I mean, and they will bark and chase you. It's happened. So, I think, and you know, one thing that is not a possibility that I went on the state statute side and looked at was you cannot ban breeds. So, I mean, it's a state statute that you cannot ban certain breeds of dogs from local, but you can do limitations and things like that. So,
Have we in the past educated the animal owners, especially if they're a nuisance, of intent from the city,
usually
especially for somebody that lives out of the city limits and their dogs happen to come into the city because they're, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
we
getting at.
usually, if that, I know in the situation that happened on top of my hills, that we had to get the sheriff involved and they warned them and, you know, gave them, you know, warnings that if your dogs are running loose or harm somebody or on someone's property, you know, they have the right to protect as needed. And the owner itself, according to some of the statutes and stuff I read, it's like your dog is your own personal property, even when you're out on a walk.
Mhm.
That is your personal property, so you have to maintain, like, at least
Yeah.
keep it on a leash and things like that, so. Just probably putting it back out there, you know, maybe even just publishing our ordinance might bring some discussion to some tables, you just never know. But,
I'd be good with that, but one of the things too is, do we have the equipment to the city catch dogs? And if not,
we have a catch stick.
then I would say, yeah, let's entertain this other possibility. Potentially, we could do that anyway.
Right. We do have a catch stick. That was purchased when Ed was in town. We do have a kennel with a house and stuff down at the building down by the county to house them if need be. So, and usually we're pretty lenient. I mean, we give you like 4 chances. First time we see you, we don't administer the $75 first offense fine. We tell you, please keep it locked up, you know. So that way we can, you know, give them a chance, let them know, especially some of the new ones might not.
Because we are a fairly small
Right,
city.
right. We work with people. But if it's, like you say, it's a continuous problem, then sometimes fines have to be administered, but
So yeah, I think we
in
can
the past I
table
haven't.
this discussion, I think, until we
Yeah.
get a little bit more information.
Yes, until I get some information back. Alrighty. 8, we will have to schedule a special meeting for line item 8, the estimate of needs for 1920. My accountant didn't get him here today.
Okay.
He delivers them and he just wasn't here. He didn't have time to get them here. He came and got everything 2 weeks ago, and so they're done. He just doesn't have them here for us to approve. So we'll have to schedule a special meeting just to
Need a motion to schedule that meeting or just?
no, we can just
discuss
consider
action?
this a discussion, and as soon as I talk to Bill and find out when they will for sure be here, then I can get with you guys and set a date.
Okay.
The county meeting is next Wednesday, the 18th, so they will have to be done by at least the 16th or 17th for me to be able to take them
Okay.
to the county, yeah. We'll run like the wind over to the county. But, so yeah. So just be thinking, is there anything coming up between now and next Tuesday that somebody would be out of town for?
Not for me.
Okay, alright.
It's only the lottery,
I know,
then I'll still be here.
I know. You gotta wait and collect later. Number 9 is when they came to pick up the material needed to create the budget for the 1920 year, they picked up some of the information from last year, for the 18-19 fiscal year, to do the agreed upon procedures, and dropped off the agreed upon procedures from 17-18. And there were no findings on any of those. And this just states that this is what they do, and didn't find any changes that needed to be made on the municipal or the general side. And so they just would like for you to acknowledge that we discussed it in the meeting, that there were no findings. Because if there were findings, then I would have to go in and make corrective actions and submit that to the state as well.
Okay.
So, but there were no findings. Yay!
That's good.
So, if I can just, we'll just go ahead and make a motion to,
I'll make a motion that we discuss,
I second.
or however you wanna write that. Or review.
and the other part is in the more detailed part, that's kind of a summary. The more detailed part is in the office. And a lot of that, I can just say, is making sure that the money's put in the right fund and the right expenses are taken out of the right funds, so that way we keep the books straight, so. But we usually don't have anything weird or outlandish, and if we do, I usually call Bill and say, where do I put this? Or what do I do with this? So. Roads,
Yes.
good idea.
Yes.
Department reports, I don't have anything from maintenance this month. I'll have him I'll see if there's anything and have him leave a report if he has one at the special meeting. Nothing on the office manager. Becky Hill is setting in for Dawn, who's gone this week. And Courtney's had her baby in Iowa on Monday. So Becky's been setting in that way because it's bill week, pay week. So she's been setting in so people can bring their payments in and not have to wait, so that we can get deposits made so checks aren't sitting in the office. So.
Is that normal?
For a longer period of time, especially if it's a payment week, we usually try to have somebody in here. Yeah, when Bonnie was here, she would set in there
Okay.
if it wasn't so. And it's been pretty good. She just works Dawn's hours, so.
How does she get paid?
It's minimum wage contract. Just straight out, because it won't, just for this weekend.
Temporary work.
Yeah.
And how is that hired out for that? Is it something that we have to?
Not with contract.
Okay.
No, yeah, I
Just
checked
curious.
all that, yeah. Checked it all out. And then for my report, I had those printed off on there. The REAP grant is now open, so we can go in and apply for the next year's REAP grant. A couple of changes are that they went back up to their $50,000 cap this year, excuse me, but you only get one application. During the past, you could apply for 2 separate grants. This year is one application up to $50,000.
What's the topic? What are they more?
It's still more infrastructure, more weighted is like sewer, water, things like that. Your gas and electricity infrastructure is lower on the totem pole for points. Like safety, your fires, departments, things like that. It's kind of your middle range points and just different things like that. So it's kind of the same, it's a points-based grant. So that way, if you did, they were kind of telling us that if you did have multiple projects, to fill them both out on those points and then present the highest pointed one to them, and then they'll go from there. So they try to fund at least one project per application, as long as it's not totally outlandish. And the one thing I thought about, since we're gonna have special meetings, think about it, and I'll also put it on that other agenda as well, is what we do want to do. If we want to go ahead and do the transmitters for the gas meter side of the system, since we did preface the fact on this water, when we did the water one, that gas is the same software, same device that way, all we have to do, and the meters we have are already compatible, we just have to put the transformer on. So that would be, but So that's one thing to think about, is continuing and getting that done, or do we need to go a different route and do something else? So just,
See that, I agree with our sewage system. One of these days, we're gonna have to tackle that.
so, but like I said, with, think about it, we'll kind of figure it out, different ideas of what we need to do. You can't do anything park-wise, you can't do anything like paying a salary. Engineering costs are covered if we have to do any sort of engineering, and although they did, I don't understand, and you can't buy lawnmowers or memorials, but you can do pavilions, which to me that is part of a park. But I guess it's not playground equipment, it's just a structure. It's more of a structure, so it would, anyway. But we are looking at expanding the pavilion anyway through the park grant that I just completed today. Got it done. So I will make the copies and get them sent out to the committee members and the grant members, grant board. So it ended up totaling $101,200 was the rounded up estimate that I used for possible incidentals of like us clearing dirt, you know, getting some groundwork done ahead of time if we needed to, and price changes from July and August that we got all the pricing from on some of that stuff. So
Yeah, she said that they would be pretty good about holding those prices too.
yeah, but like on Vanessa's, on the tables and chairs, those are gonna fluctuate whether they're sale or not and different things like that. So that's kind of where I went on that, and those benches are pretty much stable on price, just different things like, because there'll be some groundwork on getting those installed and stuff. So I will be submitting, getting that in the mail tomorrow. So I think that is all, and here's the financials. That's all stuff that has to be cleared off and fixed up. The top is the balances of our accounts as of tonight's, with tonight's POs taken out of it. And this is the municipal trust with everything taken out, but I don't have the deposits from the last couple of days. Becky will make those, made deposits today, and she'll take them to the bank tomorrow. So but that's where we stand at the moment. So not too bad.
No.
And as of right now, like I said, we haven't had the big sales tax taken away from us yet. So it's
That's
been
good.
3 months since we got that. So last couple months have been about $1,500. So it's been a little slower. So that's why I'm just being conservative in spending as much as possible. So it's like, can I have this? No, you can't have it.
Let's wait a little bit.
So, alright, so,
Make a motion for adjournment.
I second.
at 6:26. Rhodes,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
we are adjourned.
Yay.
Yay!